The craziest thing is that I would consider crazy is people like grabbing you or like.
Oh, that is a lot. How do you find yourself able to be unapologetically yourself while still being on the judgmental internet?
So, how much time we got?
Go for it. We got plenty of time. Yo, welcome back to another episode of Talk Vibe Hustle, the podcast where we dive deep into the mind, the passion of the hustlers of today and the most inspiring people in the city. Today, I'm gonna tell y'all real honestly, we got somebody super special. We got everybody's cousin in here. And if you don't know it's everybody's cousin, you ain't been in the city and looked at the family tree long enough. Because you need to know that this is your family member. When you see him, speak up. And if you see them pass by, run up and tap him on the shoulder and speak again. Because that's who he is. And that's the person that we get to see online. And that is who he is in person. Okay? Now, this gentleman goes around the city, tastes some food that you've probably seen before, and you was like, it wasn't that good, but the way he eat it make me like it. And he might go to some places you ain't never seen before. It's happened for me a couple of times. My man's here to set up my date night and don't even know it. One time for the one time. Give me a hand clap for Mr. LaDarrius. L Hut in the building. So, again, I want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to have you on the show.
Sure.
Yeah,
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah,
For real.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I want to tell everybody how you and I kind of met at your event. Was it last weekend now?
It was February 23rd.
So weekend before last.
Yeah.
Okay. Dang, I feel like it was just the other day.
No.
But at your event, you had the eat and greet too, Boldly Black, and it was a networking event. But in my opinion, I also felt like I was at a party. You know how to throw a set, a get together, a function. The liquor was there, the drinks was going, the shots was going, the food was there, and it was delicious. The people came out looking amazing, and your suit tough. The whole event tough. So please tell me how you came up with wanting to do that. First of all,
Well, so eat and greet, it started initially as an idea of like kind of like a meet and greet.
Yeah.
So that was my idea when I first started it. I'm like, my followers always ask me, I want to go eat with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to take me out with you the next time or whatever. So in my mind, I was like, you know what? Maybe I could do something where everybody can come in one place and we could eat together. But midway through me planning that very first one, I was like, you know, I love myself a lot. I do love myself. And of course they love me because they want to come with me or whatever. But I'm like, I want them to leave with a little bit more than just me. You know, because it's only but so much that I can give to people or whatever. I can give them a lot, but I feel like when you have a variety to choose from, I feel like everybody's going to take something away from the event or whatever. So last year I decided to do a panel. And I had a bunch of my influencer friends or whatever, and majority of the people that were there were aspiring influencers or whatever. So going into the second one, Boldly Black, I thought about people that are not necessarily interested in becoming an influencer per se or a creator. Some people are more interested in their career or just hearing from people who have these amazing careers that are essentially like trailblazers or whatever.
Yeah.
So I wanted to take people from like 6 different industries that were dominating the industry and kind of literally a trailblazer in that particular industry or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to just make this one more bolder and blacker. That's literally where the title came from. And all of my vendors were either black owned or minority owned.
Yeah.
And the panel, they came and they all brought something extremely different, but I feel like it accomplished the same goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So with having other influencer friends, is that what gave you your start or what necessarily gave you your start?
So how much time we got?
Go for it. We got plenty of time.
No, I've always been a creator.
Okay.
I've always been like creative in different aspects of my life, in different like with different things at different times. I remember back in like 2010.
Damn.
I know when I was that's the year I graduated high school.
Okay.
I needed like graduation invitations to be made or whatever. I created my own graduation invitations or whatever. And so, in some way, I've always had my hands in something creative. I owned a graphic design business for 3 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I created like logos, wedding invitations, business cards,
Ooh.
websites, anything that you can really think of or whatever.
Yeah.
So I've always been a creator of some sort, you
Okay.
know, whether it's fashion, whether it's like decorating my home or just in any capacity that you could think of. I've been creative
been
in or
doing
whatever.
it.
So in like 2015, I decided to try my hand at YouTube,
Mm-hmm.
and but YouTube is a hard platform to break into,
Yeah.
And so I'm not gonna say I gave up. I just feel like that wasn't my time, or my platform in particular or whatever. But then 2019 came around, and TikTok came along. Not just making videos, I was just making content, and I was just being like everybody else, just having a good time.
Yeah.
And what I started doing at the top of 2022 was recording as I go to different places.
Okay.
And so it was like 100 views, 30 views, 400 views or whatever. Just real kind of like.
Subtle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in August of 2022, I went to Ruth's Place, which used to be in Irondale.
Mm-hmm.
And I did a video there or whatever. And I don't know what was going on that day. I don't know what God said, okay, son, this is your day. Because I wasn't even supposed to go there.
Yeah.
My friend asked me to go with her, and I went. And so she was like, you going to record here? Because she knew I had been recording different stuff throughout that whole year. And I was like, nah, it ain't really nothing to record. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't. But I ended up recording, and I posted it, and it literally just changed my life.
Really?
It really did, like, in a day.
Wow.
I'm not even gonna hold you. Like, I'm not even being dramatic. Like, literally in a day, my whole life just changed.
So, what was your, like, okay, you posted the video. Were you at home when you posted it, or like were you still there?
So I was at my friend's house. So we had left. We went right to her house and we was chilling. I edited the video at her house and I posted it at her house. Did a voiceover at her house and I just posted it there. Thought nothing of it. I probably posted it maybe like an hour or two after we left.
Yeah. I love that.
Insane.
So was it just like, because like for me, like a couple of our videos have been doing, I ain't gonna say numbers in my opinion, but more than what I'm used to on social media.
Mm-hmm. So
like the notifications like throw me off sometimes. So was that your first indication of like something's happening?
Well, that wasn't my first time going viral.
Okay.
So I had went viral in 2020 because I did this trend on TikTok. It was, I don't know if you remember, it was like a crowd of people. It wasn't real people, but it was like you were at the club. You remember that little thing? I forgot. Yeah, move, slide.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So I did my rendition of that and I posted it on Facebook.
That's
and
tough.
It was viral on Facebook. That was but it went super viral on Facebook.
Yeah.
But that was 2020.
Yeah.
And it was like
I feel like everything was viral in 2020.
Yeah, and it was like a one. I feel like a one-hit wonder.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
That's so funny.
So I didn't.
Yeah.
It didn't do much for me at the time, but so it wasn't my first time having like a viral video.
Yeah.
So for me, I really thought it was just luck of the draw. Like I was like, okay, here we go again. This is just one of those again, and it'll be gone by tomorrow. It didn't go away.
That's great. So like, just reposts, likes, all of that, huh?
Yes. And
How many views we talking?
We talking about like in the first 24 hours, like 100,000.
That's crazy.
And so what happened was the owner was coming back from Brazil.
Yeah.
And she didn't know anything about what was going on because she was out the country. And so when she got back, she said her phone was just blowing up. She was getting so many messages or whatever. And they called me in like the very next 2 days or whatever. And she was like, I need to meet you or whatever. But again, I'm still not thinking anything of it or whatever. I went to go meet her. And while I was in there, they gave me more food and shit. I recorded again.
Because why not?
I recorded again, and that one went crazy. It was like a follow-up to the first one.
Yeah.
And after that, I had somebody come in and was like, you need to go to Magic City Grill. It used to be over like downtown.
Oh, it's an old downtown spot, yeah.
Yeah, I went there, and I was just like, well, okay, I was like, there's 3 videos at this point. Wait a minute,
Yeah.
I don't even remember where I went after that, but I do know, like, this was August. So I was just going, and they was going, the videos was going. Then by the time Classic came around, it was like October. I had did a video for Classic, just going out there with my friends, went crazy. And I was like, oh my God.
That's amazing.
It went crazy. And that led me to work with the Classic the very next year as an influencer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so amazing. God is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So many questions just flooded my mind. So when you say it changed your life, what do you mean by that? Because I feel like you have something envisioned exactly what changed.
Well, I feel like within that first maybe, I want to say 2 or 3 months of me from that video, I was out and I was starting to get noticed by people. You know, it was very, very gradual. Like it wasn't like how it is now, or whatever. But it was really like, because I remember the first time that I ever got noticed. I never forget. I was at Tasty Town.
Okay.
You know, you familiar with that? By Railroad Park, Regent
Field.
Oh,
okay, yeah.
I was there with one of my friends.
Yeah.
Shout out to Corey. And we was sitting there eating, and a man came up to me, and he was like, "Hey, you the guy from TikTok?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's me." And he's like, "My wife love you," and I'm like, "Oh my God!" Like me and her said that, we was like having a moment.
Yeah.
So I'm like, "What's
happening?"
You know, yeah. And so that's how I felt like it changed my life.
That's so cool, man. That's so freaking cool. As you've progressively done the videos, you've gotten fans, you have fame at this point, in my opinion. How has it been for you, like moving around the city?
It's a blessing.
Okay.
But of course, you know, with blessings, there also comes
there's curses along with it.
Yeah. I don't necessarily like to call them that. That's because fair. I feel like it's just kind of like, for me, it's just par for the course. You know what I'm saying? Like, heavy is the head that wears the crown.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so I try not to look at it in that way, because it's nonetheless it's a blessing. You know, but the great part about it is, of course, I get invited to pretty much a lot of different stuff that go on. Sometimes can't make it to stuff because I'm going to something else, you know what I'm saying? So that's always cool and fun to be thought of, you know? And some of the people that think about me, it's not necessarily being able to go to things, it's just the things that I'm going to that has blown my mind, you know? But also too, you know, you're noticed now, so you have to move a certain type of way. Not from a negative standpoint, but I have a brand, and so I have to govern myself accordingly. Yeah. You know, and so I can't be out acting crazy, doing, you know, because I still, at the end of the day, I'm working with, you know, brands and, you know, people that are high profile, and so I have to I always keep that in the back of my mind.
Yeah, you got to conduct yourself accordingly. Does that hinder you sometimes, with, like, when you go out? Like, no, conducting yourself?
I'm still human, so I still have a good time.
Yeah. You going to make it hell.
Yeah, but I just try to avoid certain places and certain crowds just for that reason, because I feel like you run a higher risk if you go into places that you know it could be some you know, BS or whatever. So I just try to go where I know my people are going to be.
That's fair.
You know,
go where you invited, not where you want to show up to.
Exactly.
So have you had like a negative run-in with a fan before that like made you a little wary of like actually being out and about by yourself?
Yeah, I don't call them fan. Cousins.
That's fair. That's my fault. My fault.
That's my fault.
Yeah.
No, we family. But I like to treat people like that too.
Yeah.
You know. But I just feel like people know not to play with me like that.
Not the one.
I mean that from the bottom of my heart.
Yeah, and
I really
from
do.
a humble place.
Yeah. People just know not to play. I'm from the north side of Birmingham. So at the end of the day, I do have a platform, I do have a brand or whatever, but it's just certain stuff I'm not going to tolerate. Mm-hmm. You know, and disrespect is at the very top of that list. Mm-hmm. So I have never actually had a crazy experience. I've had people say stuff like, do you really be liking that food? Or do you da-da-da-da? And sometimes that'll irritate me a little bit. And I'd be like, what you think? What I said in the video? Did you watch the video?
That part.
You know?
That part. That's your proof.
I'll go there, you know, but nothing crazy. Okay, so I'm gonna take that back. The craziest thing is that I would consider crazy is people like grabbing you or like,
Oh, that is a lot.
you know, or like what I call holding you hostage. Like you see I'm out having a good time or I'm out at the restaurant, but you want to stay here and talk to me for 10 minutes.
Holding me in the conversation.
Yeah, or you want me to, you know, so it's like that's sometimes a little crazy to me. But it ain't even that's probably like the most of it.
Yeah. That's good though. So with being in the spotlight and being in a place where you are now, how do you find yourself able to be unapologetically yourself while still being on the judgmental internet?
I genuinely feel like people fall in love with authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
When you go into like influencing or content creating or whatever you want to call it, and you just being yourself, you really don't have anything to apologize about because you're just being genuinely who you are. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes along the way, who you are is going to offend people. Yeah. Because some of the things you may say or some of your actions, some of your viewpoints and things like that or whatever. But I have not even had one moment in time where I sat down and thought about, well, maybe I should, or you know, like I've not had those moments. I just literally have been myself, the same way I am with my friends and my family. Yeah, it's the same way I am online, and so for me, that has kind of kept me afloat. But I do know there's some people who they readjust or I haven't.
Yeah, you ain't done that. That's good. I respect that because I feel like a lot of the people, some people will get online and they willing to sell their personality for people to follow them, for people to give them the title of being an influencer. And I don't think that's what you're supposed to do. I feel like that's a little weirdo behavior.
Well, yeah, I think that you should create your content. Yeah. And within that content, you should just genuinely be yourself. You don't have to overproduce or overdo it. You know, just be genuine within your content, and the people will find you. They'll follow you.
They will.
They'll come.
They definitely will.
Yeah.
So what are the more difficult parts about creating the content that people don't know yet?
Oh. It's the editing.
No. Okay. Yeah. Everybody say that.
So. And I'm just being honest because at this level, you know, I'm doing so much. Yeah. Like I probably got, and I'm not even lying, probably got like 6 videos on my phone or, you know, right now that needs to be edited. And then I still have maybe like 3 or 4 that has not been posted yet. So I always have a lot of content, which I'm thankful for. As a content creator, that's what you want.
That's what you want.
But editing is you have to sit down. Yeah. You know, when you're so busy and you have so many things going on, you have to find time to just sit down. Yeah. So that's probably the most difficult. Because going to film the content
ain't really hard.
That's not hard at all.
It's low key fun.
No, it's fun. Yeah. And it's so easy for me now. It's just simple.
Yeah. I took my first stab at like trying to do a full-time content creation day. So like I went to the recovery house and did a cold plunge and a sauna. So I recorded that. And then I went to go edit it. And I sat in a coffee shop for like 2 hours because like Unc don't know nothing about that. So I'm like, all right, so how you put this in a time lapse? What's a time lapse? Oh, I recorded it as a video. You can't make that a time lapse, but you can speed it up. Yeah. So like learning that all the hard way is so funny for me. So do you edit all your content yourself?
I don't trust nobody.
That's fair.
I just feel like I got my own style of editing. I've never taken an editing workshop. I've never watched an editing video on YouTube. I literally downloaded apps and through trial and error and figured out which ones I like. And I rotate between like literally every video I take. It goes through like 3 different apps for 3 different reasons. So I just learned on my own or whatever and developed my own style. Yeah. Like when you watch my videos, you can see that the way I edit my videos is not like a lot of people edit their videos. And I love that.
I was going to ask you, because I remember seeing in one of your videos at one point or another that you had a degree, so I thought it had to do something with editing. What's the degree in?
No, actually. My bachelor's is in business management.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and my master's is in emergency management. And I'm also working on a doctorate. I'm on a pause right now, but I'm halfway through the program.
Yeah.
But it's a doctorate in business.
Dr. Cousin.
Yeah, that's right.
That's tough. That's so tough. I want to say that that's amazing that you also have degrees.
Thank you.
Because I think that in our community, it needs to be talked about a little bit more. Going to school, I personally didn't do it, but I think it needs to be talked about and praised a little bit more. Like, just because you're doing content creation and influencing now does not mean that those degrees don't matter.
Oh, absolutely not. So I feel two ways about it. I feel like you can definitely be successful without going to school.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I am an advocate for school because, of course, I went. But I also have met so many people that has created beautiful and successful lives for themselves, just doing the things that they love to do.
Yeah.
Whether you're a barber or a hairstylist or you have a trade, whatever the case may be. I've seen people create amazing lives from other things outside of a degree.
Yeah.
But for me, and like my background and where I come from, nobody in my family had ever gotten a degree. I was my mom's first child to get a degree. I was my grandma's first grandchild to get a degree.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it was more than just about. It was more than because of the fact that I wanted to go to school. It was more so because I wanted to change the trajectory of my family.
That's
and it
beautiful.
did.
Yeah.
And so, but also too, it taught me discipline, and it also taught me how to conduct myself in business settings. So yeah, that's it. It did way more for me than I guess what some people say it does for them.
Okay. And what schools did you go to?
Jacksonville State.
Okay.
But
for both?
I go to University of West Alabama now.
Okay. And that's close to home at this point, yeah. So did you experience the party life and whatnot?
Absolutely.
Yeah, go Gamecocks. That's so tough.
I ain't gonna even hold you. One thing, but like I said, I've always been disciplined.
Yeah.
I would study.
Yeah.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, because I knew I was gonna have an exam by Friday. So I would study Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, all the way up until it was time to go out. Because our party nights was Thursday night.
Okay.
So I would study probably literally up until it was time for me to get dressed to go out, and then I would go out and go wake up the next morning, go take my test,
and get right back to it. Like
Get
it ain't
right back to
nothing.
it, yeah.
You gotta have that kind of discipline if you're gonna do this.
Absolutely.
Or do that in college. And I imagine that kind of discipline transfers over to here because, like you said, you had an event yesterday and you showed up to work here.
Yeah.
So it kind of goes hand in hand.
Absolutely. I'm a stickler for being on time, being professional. Because it's my brand.
Yeah.
So I don't want to, and I just don't. I've met so many people that just do exactly what it is that they want to do because they feel like they are who they are.
Yeah.
I don't ever want that to be my
like
case.
I'm a late person, so I'm gonna be late.
But I'm late. But I also have 1 million followers, so you can wait.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I hope I don't run into nobody like that.
Like I'm giving you an opportunity,
Yeah.
so you good. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
I'm gonna preemptively tell everybody that's gonna bother me. If you have a legitimate reason for being late, that's cool. But if that's the reason, that's gonna bother me.
I feel like being late is a
It's an insult.
It's an insult. It's literally a slap in the face
Mm-hmm.
because
Your time is invaluable.
Exactly, but also too, I feel like one-offs they happen. Life happens or whatever. But if you prepare and nothing happens, I don't understand.
Yeah. Like I'm gonna say it every episode. That's the definition of success for me is when preparation meets opportunity.
Absolutely.
So when you prepare and that time comes, you'll be ready.
For sure.
And it's gonna go well. You're gonna be very successful. So I want to roll back to something you just said, talking about your brand and being you. How was it when brands started approaching you, or were you approaching other brands to be sponsored, honestly, just paid, whatever that may look like?
Okay, so if I'm thinking back to when I first started, and when we talk about brands, for me, mine looks a little bit different than some other influencers because I have a very niche. I create niche content or whatever. Yeah. It's a subcategory of lifestyle, but it's not necessarily just a particular lifestyle. So when brands approach me, it is like McDonald's Magic City Classic. You know,
Yeah.
I was first of all, I'm just trying to figure. I'm like, wait. Hold on. Is this real?
Yeah.
You know, so it when they first started happening for me, it was blowing my mind.
Yeah.
But I started getting like PR boxes, and you know, as an
That's
influencer,
cool.
let me say something. Right, but when you after you be in there for a while, you just kind of like, okay, I'm good on the free stuff. Depending on who it's from,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like one time I got a PR box from this was I don't remember, but it was maybe December of like 2023. I got a PR box from Islington Hotel.
Okay.
Now that one, I loved it because when I opened it up, it was like, oh yeah, you get a complimentary weekend stay at the hotel. I'm like,
Yeah, I
what?
love that
And then they
hotel.
had glasses and like
Wow.
champagne. Now that's the type of
Yeah.
stuff I like.
Yeah.
You know, if you're gonna give me a free stay or something somewhere,
Yeah.
then I'm good with that. But people try to free you, and can you post it on your story? Can you da 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 da? You know, so eventually it gets like, but when I first started, though, I was just like, oh, I done made it. Because I was getting like, people were sending me stuff, and like, you know, they still try to send it now, but I don't have like a PO box posted.
Okay.
That's just a little overwhelming for me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get a PO box, but it's cool though. It's cool to be thought about.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah. I that inspires me, A. And B, I can't wait. I really can't wait. Like, I know that the love for what I am doing is here. I know that like I'm doing good service to our community by talking to the people that people haven't seen what you're doing before. And people, your cousins, our cousins, always want to get to know you. So like at some point or another, this podcast is gonna do that for me, and I can't wait for that. But like now, I'm like peeping what you saying about you don't really want certain brands to be sending you stuff, because like if I get 40 deodorants in the mail, I'm like, do I stink?
Wait,
Do they know I
hold
stink
on,
through the
what you trying to say, yeah. Right.
That's so funny. So now that you're involved with doing the content creation, I really have a burning question, and I heard you say this during your event, and it's just been burning me. You still work your job.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that?
Well, so just to get a little deep, like for me growing up, I just didn't feel a level of stability. You know,
Fair.
I felt a little bit, even though it wasn't my worry to have because I was a child, but I still always felt like uncertain about life because it was so like kind of up and kind of down, more down than anything. And so I always told myself that I wanted to create stability for myself when I became an adult. And so working for me is a part of that, in a sense or whatever. And at this point, it's been it's been pretty easy for me to balance or whatever.
Yeah.
I do know for 100% fact that that's going to change soon, but I'm just letting God kind of lead me to when that change is. You know, I haven't like came up with a master plan like, okay, on this day I'm going to do that, but I know something's going to happen to where I'm going to have to be pushed out, because that's just how God has always worked in my life. Always, you know. Every single time that it's been time for me to transition into something else, God has put it right in front of my face. So people ask me all the time, like, when are you going to start working? I'm like, you got to ask God. You know what I'm saying? Because I know that that's going to happen. I just know that's the trajectory of my path or whatever, but I just don't know the date. But as of right now, thankfully, they are super flexible with what I have going on. They knew what I did before I got there.
Yeah. I want to touch on when you say God, like, will give you those signs when it's time. Like, we were doing episode after episode of the podcast, and even though we only have 2 or 3 out right now, we have a lot in the bag because I've been doing this for a little while. So I was doing it, and every single person that sat there was talking about, I'm not happy, or I quit doing X, Y, and Z because I wasn't happy, or this, that, and the third. And then the opportunity for me to leave my job in the way I did, where I still get paid for a little while, a pretty decent amount of time, it just came up, and I had a week to make the decision on if I wanted to do it or not. So it's like, God was like, here you go. If you really want to do this thing, here's your opportunity. It's right here in front of you, or you cannot. You can just simply not. So like, I hear you when you say something. That sign has to be written on the wall, and God gonna move you in such a crazy way. It's so amazing.
This has always been my life. It always has worked out like that for me.
Yeah, same. Yeah. My brother-in-law put me on the term "God go hard" for me.
Absolutely. He worked overtime for me.
Overtime, I'm trying to tell you. Yeah. It's nice to be put in spaces where other people feel that as well.
Yeah.
So being in the space of being a creator and going to all these networking events and stuff like that, how's it been getting to know other people who make content in the city?
Well, it's been interesting, to say the least, because you meet so many different people, and so the reason why I laugh is because I remember when I first started, I was meeting people or whatever that I'm still friends with now or whatever. Yeah. But they were kind of already in it before I got in it, and they was like kind of like pre-warning me about certain people or whatever, because people don't understand this, but Birmingham has a lot of influencers here.
Yeah,
it's a lot.
Yeah,
and so they was kind of just like kind of pre-warning me about people, and I had to tell them, I'm like, look, I'm just a different breed. You know what I'm saying? Like, none of that stuff ain't gonna happen over here. Yeah. I don't know what y'all had going on before I got here, but I'm in here now.
This ain't that.
And so we're gonna change this thing around.
Yeah.
And so I've never ever had no crazy encounters with no. Well, I have, but I straightened it out right in and there.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I've never had nothing crazy. People have received me with so much love. Like I said, it's been so many people that I've watched, and I could just name a few, like Brittany, Big Daddy in there, Queen Leora, Nitra B, she's a YouTuber, Fumi Ford, she was at my event too, and but those are some of the people that I could think of that I watched avidly, like I was a big fan of them, and they at some point in time they all kind of like either reached out to me or followed me, and I was just like,
mind blown by it.
Yeah, I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on? And so it showed me that when you're a good person, that's what you're gonna receive. Yeah. So I haven't had nothing crazy or whatever, but it's been nothing but love. And what I have been intentional about is I've created so many different like influencer nights at different restaurants. Yeah. Sometimes they get posted, sometimes they don't, but where I bring in influencers together or whatever. And somebody literally just told me last night, they was like, you ushering in a new wave. Yeah. Because you're doing things that wasn't done before you started or whatever. And I said, that's me. That's like, good. I'm always I believe in community. So yeah.
I'm a big fan of that. I'm a really big fan of that because I feel like as I'm been doing this podcast and I ask people like, why do you feel like Birmingham isn't on the level of Atlanta and Houston? Because those are neighboring cities for real. Like Houston, not as much, but Atlanta's right there. And for us to not have an identity as far as like having a real social scene, having a real entertainment scene, I feel like it has to do with a lot with us carrying each other. Let's uplift each other's names. Let's put out each other's content out there. Let's repost the little people. Let's repost the big people. I think all of that needs to happen.
Yeah, and it's crazy that you say that. I agree 100%. Mm-hmm. But not Birmingham. They got me. Yeah. But I invited a girl, so she was at the event. She was at the eating greet. Okay. But I had ran into her at Juniper. And she came up to me, and she didn't come up to me. Mm-hmm. Her husband, I think it's her husband or boyfriend or whatever, came up to me and was like, she really loves you. She nervous or whatever, da-da-da. Would you be willing to do a video with her and da-da-da? And so I was like, well, I can see. Because one thing about me, I'm an honest person. I'm not going to just, if I felt like, yeah, let's do it or whatever, I would have said that or whatever. But I was like, I see, let me check it out or whatever. Let's see how we vibe or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't just, want to commit to nothing that I'm not gonna stand behind. Because if I say I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it. But I end up telling him, you know what? Look, give her my number or whatever, and she could text me or whatever. So she ended up texting me, and she was like asking me about the video, and I asked her. I said, so what is the video? What are you looking to do in the video? Like, what's your idea? Da da da. And she was telling me or whatever. I was like, look. So here's the thing. I don't know if that necessarily works for me, but I'm more than happy to mentor you. I'm more than happy to give you gems that wasn't given to me or whatever.
Yeah.
Not to say that I felt like she was looking for like a come up or anything like that, but I'm like, what you're looking for is already in you. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna add anything to your video besides the fact that people are gonna see your video and notice that it's me.
Yeah.
They're still not gonna know you and fall in love with you or whatever. But with that said, though, I invited her to come to my influencer mix or whatever, because she's an aspiring influencer or whatever. But what I told myself is that I want to reach to the people that are aspiring as well as to the people that's already there.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I was wanting to start doing it or whatever, I didn't have anybody to look to or whatever. So it's important for me to keep in mind the underdogs. Yeah. Because they are important too.
They are.
Yeah.
They are. The reason I wanted to do this podcast is to have that opportunity to do that. Whether it's somebody up here or down here, is like, have your time to sit in this chair. If you want to just make this whole episode about you promoting your stuff that's coming, you can do that. If you want to tell your story, you can do that. If you want to sit there and cry the entire time about how your parents want shit, you can do that. But the opportunity is there for people.
Yeah. Some people are superficial like that, though. Mm-hmm. Some people they want people with a name. Yeah. And that's okay. You want to have you want to have robust options for your followers. You want people to be able to. That's why for me, I do go to higher end restaurants. Yeah. But I also go to restaurants that are mom and pop shops. I also go to food trucks. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have a variety of the things that I do because I know everything is not for everyone, and everyone can't necessarily afford an Armour house. Yeah. Yeah. But they can afford J&R's. Yeah. So you have to have that variety with anything that you do. Yeah. Yeah.
I have a question. You don't have to answer it at all. So, growing up, I used to watch Guy Fieri, right? Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, right? Okay. He did a show one time where he talked about some of his telltale ways of people knowing that he not really enjoying the food, but he's not going to say that. So his telltale way was, after he tasted the food, the very first thing that came out of his mouth was something to compliment the chef, the kitchen, or the cleanliness of the room. I feel like you are a type of person that don't even post a video if you don't like the food. Is that true?
No.
Okay.
Like, my telltale is my facial expression.
I knew it. Okay.
Like, if you watch the video and because some people, I don't know if they watch my videos and don't look at me. Yeah. Or if they just hear my voice as I'm saying it. But I'm like, I'm not good at faking. And I've never been able to, I'm not going to be on camera. Yeah. Eating something that's like disgusting and I don't show it in my face. I'll never forget the time I went to this African restaurant. This is kind of early on. Yeah. And I did not enjoy the fufu and the, what's it called? Jalap? No, I forgot. I don't want to be disrespectful because they already had.
They came for you.
They already had tried to cancel me. A lot of y'all gonna cancel me, and I ain't even got into council yet. Like, how you gonna cancel me?
That's too early. Wait a minute. Right.
But I pushed the plate away, and I made a face. And that's just how it is in all my videos or whatever. So, yeah. And also too, if you can't tell it in my face, I'll just say it.
Yeah. Yeah. I figured. The face. That's lovely, actually. Okay. So we have 3 conclusion questions that we like to ask towards the end of the interview. First question being, if your future self came through the door right now, you got 2 questions to ask yourself. What are those 2 questions?
Oh, that's deep. The first one would be, why were you worried?
About actually, that's your business.
No, I could talk.
Go ahead.
Why were you worried about where your life would be? You know, sometimes I feel like especially when you're growing up, sometimes you can't, what do they say, see the forest for the trees? Because especially when your circumstances are not the best.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's like you cannot foresee a future like this for yourself or whatever.
Yeah.
And you just kind of scared and like worried, you know. So I guess my first question would be, why were you worried? And the second question would be, do you know who you are?
That's such a good question.
Because
It's so easy to lose yourself.
it's easy to lose yourself. But as I'm sitting here now and I'm looking back, I'm like, I don't think I understood exactly who I was or what I possessed, or you know, I had severe imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
And so, but now sitting here at 33 years old, I'm like, I know exactly who I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When's your birthday?
November 9th.
November 9th.
Scorpio.
Okay. What song best describes your journey up until this point?
Oh. I don't want to sound corny, but I really feel like it's the best is yet to come.
Okay.
I feel like the best is yet to come because it is
Yeah.
always, you know, and it
Yeah.
has been.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, for sure.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay. And now that you've sat through the interview, hopefully you've enjoyed yourself. Who is the next hustler that you'd like to see in that position?
And you see,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to nominate my girl, Megan.
Okay.
Battle. I
Okay.
think Megan she is young. She is vivacious. She is like ambitious. She is a God-fearing woman, and she's the youngest brokerage owner in the city.
Really?
And so
I remember her saying that, actually.
yeah, so I feel like she can add a lot to a room, and so I think she would be dope.
Yeah. I think she'll be a great guest, too, because she seemed like she has a lot of personality, too.
A lot of personality, but also a lot of game.
Yeah, that's what we need.
A lot of game
That's
and
what
a
we
great
need.
story.
That's what we need.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I want to say thank you again for being here. I also want to say thank you for being yourself. There's not many times that I find myself sitting in the room with somebody who immediately inspires me, but you inspire me.
Thank
Your
you.
story is amazing. You're an amazing human being.
I appreciate that.
I hope that everything that you're working towards goes the way you want it to, and the things that you don't want to happen, I don't want them to happen either.
Yeah. No, and I wish that same for you.
Thank you.
Because I can only imagine how it is stepping out on faith.
Yeah.
And doing, well, I can't imagine, but I know sometimes it's scary.
Yeah.
You know, and like I was saying earlier, or just a second ago, sometimes it seems like you can't see what the next day is going to bring, or how is this thing going to all come together or whatever.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's coming together right before your eyes.
I think it's happening slowly. It really is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's only up from here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like a good friend told me, he said, man, you got God involved, so it ain't going to go wrong.
And that's the piece that a lot of people are missing.
Mhm.
You know, And
Crazy enough.
As long as that's the most important piece.
It's the free part.
Absolutely, it's the foundation.
Mm-hmm.
So if you got that, you good.
I appreciate that. Well, tell everybody where they can find you and what you got coming to them.
Ooh, you can find me on TikTok, LHUT_, LHUT_, Instagram, LHUT_, Facebook, LaDarrius Hutcherson. And what I have coming up, I have some things around the city that I'm going to be hosting.
Okay.
I'm actually doing something real exciting in the morning. Can't talk about it right now, but it's for the city.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. I have, of course, my merch, whatsupcousins.com. I have several events that I'm going to be hosting and a part of. Gonna be doing more things on my YouTube channel, LHUT TV. It's always something. Like I love motion.
Yeah.
So it's
Gotta
always
have motion twin.
It's always gonna be something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, this has been a Talk Vibe Hustle podcast. Everybody clap it up for LaDarrius for being here. I appreciate him. Until next time, y'all like and subscribe. We'll see y'all. Peace.